Like in my business, our core values were fun, safe, and convenient. But we owned convenience. That was our brand promise. Like everything had to be convenient. If it wasn't convenient, it was because safety was obviously just assumed, but convenience was our brand promise, and we built everything around that. Like there was no going around that.
Yeah, you nailed it. And I think a lot of times as brands are growing, you're learning to build the plane while you're also learning to fly the plane.
Yes. Oh, that totally resonates with me.
So you're up in the air, you're trying to build the plane, you're learning to fly the plane, and it can be hard to do exactly what you just said, which is being able to identify those values, identify the brand promise. Those are things I advocate for doing in the very, very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm such a big fan of EOS, because it really creates the infrastructure to ensure that your brand promise, your values are kind of identified and not getting caught up in a tactical decision.
Yeah. At the same time as founders, we, part of our magic is the passion we have for the business. But then there's the part where we go too far. I had a mentor that once said, and he was a hard-nosed business guy. He wasn't the creative artist as most of us entrepreneurs are. He was the entrepreneur through and through. Like he'd buy and sell businesses and it didn't matter to him. He once said to me, and it really resonated, he said, don't love your business because it won't love you back.
Wow.
He's kind of right.
Yeah.
Like because we get blindsided. We love our business so much. It's a one-way street though, because your business could fail. It's not going to save you. Now, I could have total gratitude and appreciation for what my business has given me and my family and the amount of impact I've been able to have on people. But at the end of the day, that business is not loving you back.
Yeah. I love the word you use. It's our identification with the business.
Yes.
And the language I use with a lot of founders, because usually when I come in, they say, I'm losing sleep. I'm waking up at 5 a.m., 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And what I say is like, we want to move this business so that you're sleeping on something, not losing sleep over something.
Right.
We want to be sleeping on it to solve big problems, not losing sleep over the problem. And everything you're speaking to there, and it's so awesome. You're talking about that mentor. I love the Beatles, but it's kind of bringing in the yin and the yang. So you need Lennon and you need McCartney.
Totally, yes.
You need the Gershwin brothers. Some of the most powerful things have been created as duos, so that you can have that balance of that yin and that yang.
How about you coming in to be in that balance? Did you have any fears or concerns that you weren't going to be given the latitude to do what was right for the brand? I hear that from time to time that founders, when a CEO is brought in or a president or a COO, like the torch is somewhat being passed torch to me, but am I really going to be empowered? Tell me how that felt, because there are other founders that are listening and watching this that do need to make the hire. And I want them to hear from somebody like you, who was that person that came into the company.
It's a great question. And in a way, as you're kind of using this to speak to the founder, I'm speaking to the people that do what I do. My approach is I need to earn the latitude. I have to build and earn the trust from a founder. So for a founder, this is their baby typically.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, hey, here's my baby, go drive it around, go do all these things, and I'm just going to be hands off? No,
Never.
No way. They need to see what this is going to look like. We need to move a little slow. We need to build trust. And so when I work with a founder, it's laying out what that looks like. And I ask the question, hey, we're going to move slow. We're going to take these steps, but we're going to move it in this direction. And I'm going to consistently be communicating with you to see how you're feeling about this. Mm-hmm. And there are going to be places where there's going to be a leap of faith on your part and a leap of faith on my part, but we're going to be in constant communication about what that looks like. I never use the approach of, hey, you just have to trust me. And if I use the phrase just trust me, I have already failed.
That's a great point.
Because I haven't put in the program to build the trust.
So how does a founder, Rob, what can they do to accelerate the empowerment of hiring somebody when they do hire the person? How can they accelerate that empowerment? And what were some of the maybe keys that allowed this to happen for you to really help grow this company?
Yeah, the language I use is from Strategic Coach. It's who, not how. So founder, where we want to move to in a kind of a 6-month time period. And a lot of this kind of depends on where's the brand at, how much runway do we have, where are things at. But the how is going to ultimately end up being the team's responsibility. But why we're doing it is always going to be your responsibility. And so we just want to kind of be kind of clear on the communication and how we kind of go structure that. But if we're so the strategy, hey, founder, you're a big part of that strategy. How are we what does it look like? Are we ensuring that it meets our brand promise, our values, the heart of this brand? But once you kind of sign off on the strategy, it's the team's responsibility to go execute the strategy.
Okay, true.
And so kind of being able to kind of understand the roles and responsibilities that the founder is not. And I see a lot of my role when I do come into that brand, again, it's when I use analogies, when you look at like a horse race, the stallion often has a friend horse that's kind of behind the scenes, but is lining up the stallion or the founder to go do these amazing things. We don't want the stallion or the founder to be so caught up over here because it takes up their brain energy to be that creative force.
Right.
So we want to take all these, Rob Israel, this is what he would say. He's like, my brain has 1,000 gigs of RAM memory. Like everything is in my head. And it always resonates. My job is to take those things out of your RAM memory so you're not bogged down in it, keep you informed, consult you on the things that are really critical, but free up your RAM memory to go be your amazing self, because founders are magical. And we want that magic because that will help drive the brand forward.
Yeah. One of the dangers I've noticed with just businesses in general, this is not even franchising, is that if the entrepreneur has the ability to wear so many hats and do so many things, it has actually hindered their growth because they can, versus somebody who just says, I flat out can't do the marketing. I can't do the sales. I have no idea. And those people hire earlier, quicker, and so they get to scale faster. So it's actually a detriment to the founder if they're too good at wearing too many hats. If they're the quintessential 5-tool player, like in baseball, that actually hurts a founder.
It actually does. Yes. And it's understanding just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yeah.
Right.
And even if, let's just say hypothetically, founder has a robust experience in real estate. They're an expert at it, subject matter expert. Well, you don't want the founder doing that work, not just because of the executional element, but because in franchising, when the founder ends up being so accessible to the franchisee in such a critical stage, you're setting up the franchisor-franchisee relationship to be upside down. And so like I say with founders, I want you in my back pocket for when things are going really well or when something has just amazingly hit the fan and I need the heavy to come in. But I want you to be on those. But if the franchisee is working with you in real estate, you are no longer, I can no longer, put you into the system in the appropriate way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Rob, so tell us sort of what was the magic for you when you came in? There was 18 franchise locations, and now you've taken it to there's 75 locations open. You got 55 more that are in development. I guess I understand there are multi-unit operators that have the right that they will be opening in the future. That's an enormous amount of growth in relatively short period of time. What's been some of the the magic behind that?
Yeah, well, I'd like to be clear on this language. There is no, it's not me. I bring my part to the table, but it is the team. And there is an amazing team here, starting with the founders, myself, David Martinelli, our president, Scott in ops, Amanda in marketing. I mean, it's the team all the way down to Cooper, who does our local store marketing manager stuff. It's a team effort. What has helped with that growth is that a line I often use is the founder is often looking to bring in that team. I hate to say too late, but too late.
You're right. You're right. More times than not, it is too late. I think part of it, I can only speak for myself, it's not that I don't want to, it's can I afford it?
Yeah. The language I use there is a lot of times a brand is hiring to cash, not hiring to growth.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.